Hi guys, this is White Raven, and today it's not a reading. I would like to talk about a few decks that I really like, why I like them, and while we're looking at some of them, also possibly a few words of how I got into tarot. And so let's see. We have 4 decks here that I specifically would like to talk about today. These two are by Sasha Graham or Graham. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Witch's Garden. Sasha Graham is the author and the book author, and the art is by Natasha Ilinchik, maybe? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. The book is really big and detailed, and what I really like is that it has big pictures because the art is amazing and we can really see it when it's printed like that. So we're gonna go into a little bit more details. And the second deck is also by Sasha Graham and art by Abigail Larson, the Darkwood Tarot. For me, these are like sister decks, while one is really direct and straightforward and sometimes a little bit harsh but honest, and the other one is kind and gentle. I love these decks very much, and there are Llewellyn decks. You can purchase them on Amazon. So I'm gonna remove the boxes. The boxes are lovely boxes with a ribbon. I personally don't specifically like big boxes because I like to take my cards with me when I go somewhere, and when the boxes are huge like that, it becomes a bit hard to just drop them in your bag and go. So the decks, these are the backs. This looks like it's linen. I don't know if you can see. Yes, you can see it a little bit. And this one is the typical Llewellyn cardstock. Both books have over 200 pages in them. This one unfortunately fell apart because I was using it so much. 289, 291, almost 300 pages, and this one is 297. So Sasha is amazing. The way she writes the card interpretations is just fantastic. Why do I like these decks so much? We all know that we can read for other people, and it's not always extremely easy. If it's family members or friends that we know, our perception and perspective is a little biased because we know the people, and we also feel a bit more alert and aware of what we say and how we say it because we know the people and we know their reactions. And so sometimes the truth or the reading can be compromised. When we read for ourselves, this gets even harder. It becomes even harder to be objective because you're reading for yourself and it's this close. So why I love these decks? Because I mean, the art is stunning. The colors are really great. It's not, by the way, I'm not sponsored, just in case somebody is thinking that I am. The book is very detailed and the interpretations are amazing. So let's take, for instance, Judgment. We have a long text, quite detailed. We have Judgment is the archetype of transformation. You have passed the point of no return. We have a nice long text, and then if we're still looking at our reading for ourselves and we don't know what on earth is it saying, we have the text here. We have the meaning and we have the shadow. And so when I'm stuck with my personal readings, I go here and I read and I feel what resonates. And her interpretations are beautiful. So let's read Judgment card. Day revolves quickly into nightfall. Darkness falls like a curtain. The shadow witch moves from the garden of manifestation to the garden of the dead. The vampire emerges to take the witch to the point of no return. The witch offers her neck to the vampire. She succumbs to sweet immortality. Nothing ever truly dies. Judgment appears to remind you there is no going back to the way life used to be. Nothing will ever be the same. You see what you are capable of, and more importantly, you no longer ignore it. Choice evaporates as it becomes your eventuality. Others take note. Ramifications are everywhere. There is no going back. The transformation is nearly complete. You embrace your true destiny. The shadow witch offers her neck willingly to the vampire. She is about to become an eternal child of the night. Vampire neck bites are erotic symbols making metamorphosis. The death card taught us that all life is temporal. Change is natural state. This is what the shadow witch came for. Our instincts will lead us to what we require. We can learn who we are. We surprise ourselves. Corpse hands reach up from the graves to express a wake-up call on every level of existence. What is true for you is true for the world. You change, the world changes. As above, so below. The transformation of the soul is complete. The corpse hands. And the meaning is, the choice is made, wake-up call, eternal change, nothing will ever be the same, evolution is at hand, rebirth, heeding the call of your heart, unfolding joy. The shadow meaning is need for constant stimulation and drama to cover up the heart of the matter, distraction and noise to hide from inner truth, refusal to change habits, stuck with ideas, defining a false sense of self, placing unrealistic expectations on others. So you can read for yourself with these two decks and know that if you're stuck, you will find your answers, because the meanings are so detailed, they're so spot on, and this deck reads so easily. You can use it for any kind of spreads, any kind of themes, any kind of readings. It's very honest, it's very direct, it's a shadow work deck, so I use it for a lot of things, but in any kind of reading, it will show you the real truth, like the deep core of it, the things that you didn't even want to see, the subconscious kind of. It will always bring up the hidden little things that you would usually ignore, or some things that you would be dishonest about. Or for instance, if you're asking something like, how would my life in this new city or new country be? Or what do I need to know about changing the job? Or what do I need to know about this newly received job position? It will bring up the negative aspects that you might have to deal with first. And some people might say that the deck is negative, but I don't think so. I think that, and quite often in life, we do this. We see the best in people when we fall in love, when we move into a new country, or preparing to move, when we find a new job. We tend to say, this is amazing, this person is great, he has such a big heart. And we, either because we're in love, either because we're excited, we avoid looking at the negatives. We avoid looking at the unpolished parts, rough parts of the issue. Like, for instance, the jewelers, when they buy or pick their stones, their gems, their jewels, they look at all the negative, all the bad sides of that stone to decide whether they can work with the stone, whether they can use it for a particular piece of jewelry. And the beautiful sides of the stones are very easy to deal with. There's nothing to deal with. If someone is kind, if someone is giving, this is amazing qualities, and they will only grow and become better with time as the person lives, changes, transforms, grows, and learns. But we avoid looking at the negative sides of so many things, and we get married sometimes, or we get into a long-term relationships without really acknowledging the negative sides of that person's personality, that person's character. And what it does is that we have these pink glasses thinking that this person is truly amazing, nothing about him is wrong, and then the dark, the smelly stuff comes out, and then we feel like, oh, I don't know if I can. So we need to know what shit can we work with, what shit can we deal with, what imperfections on that stone are there, and whether I can work with that. What imperfections does that person, what are the dark sides of that person that are there? Look at them and then answer to yourself honestly and clearly, can I work with that? Because I can always work with his great sides. But now that I'm deciding to marry him, or now that I'm deciding to move into this city, what are the negatives? Now that I'm deciding to take this job, what are the negatives? And this deck allows us to see exactly that. It will always point out on the things that someone is hiding, on the things that you're hiding from yourself, on the downsides of living in that city. And so you know that I've seen the downsides. Everything else is on my, let's say, this deck is like giving you a con list. You already know the pro list, because we always look at the positive sides. It's amazing. It's a big, lively city. I will have my new job there. I will have access to all the shopping malls. I'll be able to walk on the street. And this deck will tell you, yes, you will, but also look at this. A big city means air pollution, or big city means more addictions. Big city means sometimes maybe loneliness. Big city means higher prices. And this deck will show you exactly that. It will show you the things that you don't specifically want to see. So you have to be ready, but you know that it's going to be honest, you know that it's going to be direct, and you know that you can actually trust that you have looked at all the details, at all the positive sides and at all the negative sides. You have your pro and you have your con list, and you're ready. So I highly recommend this deck. For instance, let's have a look at the Five of Pentacles. I really like the interpretation that she's got in the book. Let's read what the Five of Pentacles says. King. Oh, that's the wrong book. Forgive me. Getting confused here. Five of Pentacles. That's Cups. Okay, here we've got Pentacles at the end. All right. So, dark night. Snow fills the dark wood. The landscape is illuminated by an unseen moon. A couple walks together up an embankment, suggesting an uphill struggle. They're sad. Their clothing is in tatters. They're barefoot and ill-equipped to deal with the snowfall, wind, and brittle cold. Betrayal between them creeps through the card. It is the classic dark night of the soul, a la Boheme. So let's have the card here. Obviously, she's walking in front of him and she's not talking to him. The Five Pentacles are packed inside the base of a tree, hidden like treasure in plain sight. If the couple could see past their pain, they would look up and discover salvation is at hand. They are too consumed with familiar and comforting pain to discover the Pentacles, which are the answer and refuge they seek. The Five of Pentacles foreshadows the Ten of Pentacles. The Three of Life holds entrance to the underworld, but it is blocked. The dark night of the soul trials and tribulation that can make our break romantic, familial and friendly relationships. The highs and lows of being together, struggle and drudgery, old wounds rise to the surface. The shadow, meaning the Five of Pentacles suggests the breakthrough and release of a blockage that once held relationships back. It is the working of the problem. It is sticking around when times get tough, not just when things are easy and fun. This is the transformative moment of a relationship that shows two people what they're made of together. So it's quite unusual interpretation of Five of Pentacles. Obviously, there is the usual struggle and the high and lows, but she makes an accent on being together, and I really like that. Now, you don't have to read it this way, of course, but if you're reading for yourself and you're a little bit stuck, you can go into the book and see what resonates with you and take and leave the rest. And obviously, if you're not stuck, you can just go on with your Rider-Waite interpretations. But for this particular deck, I really enjoy looking at her meanings when I read for myself. Ten of Swords is really beautiful. The art is stunning. Three of Pentacles, Two of Cups. So this deck is honest, it's direct, and it will point to the things that you don't want to see. It's like the friend that we possibly all have that will always be brutally honest. And we sometimes might take it badly in that particular moment, but then we will come home, we will take that bath, or we will lie down on the couch, breathe out, and we feel actually there is truth in that, in the words of that person. They're right. It hurts, and I didn't want to see this side of the situation, and that's why it hurts, because this is something or this is a side of me that doesn't want to see the truth, or maybe I was not ready to see the truth, or I was hiding the truth from myself. I didn't want to admit that my relationships are ending. I didn't want to admit that I no longer enjoy this job. I didn't want to admit that I was idolizing that new project, that new person, that new city where I'm planning to move. And this deck will help you to see into that. If you don't have that friend right next to you to say, hey, excitement is good, but have you thought about this? So this deck, Dark Wood by Sasha Graham and Abigail Larson, is amazing like that, and I highly recommend it. I will do some readings with it. I surely will. I mainly use it for myself, but I will do some readings with it for the channel. And this is the sister deck that is, for me, like this lovely woman that appears on the Hierophant card. It's soft, it's gentle, it's quite spiritual, it sees the positive. So honestly, if you want to have a pro-con reading, you use this deck to show you the negatives of the situation you're inquiring, and this deck to show you what could possibly go right and amazing and perfectly fine. The images are really beautiful. They're not lined up, measure arcana and by suits, because I've been using the deck and this is not a flip through, but it's nice to just have a look at the images. This is an interesting, a very lovely Six of Swords, so I'm gonna read the text because I really enjoy it, just for you to have an idea of how the cards read and what are the interpretations. So, Six of Swords, journey, Mercury in Aquarius. Water laps at distant shore, what has been can be no more. Still sword leads, sharp wisdom knows. Unravel the past by following what glows. So there are poems also in here, little short poems. I really like that. A witch sits in the fore of thin wooden boat, quietly slicing through still water. A sword extends from her heart chakra and hoves above her open palms. It is the guiding force of instinct and intellect. She follows the compass point of the soul. The sword glows with inherent magic. The Six of Swords is setting off in a new direction. It is following the inner compass, discovering your true north. The sword lights up her face in a cozy glow. It is being alert and entirely focused. Clear sky and still water portray a calm mind. Five swords fan behind her. She carries her lessons well. She does not forget from where she came. A mysterious fairy person moves the boat. The figure evokes the crossing on the river Hades. A child's head rests on the witch's thigh and reflects nurturing and trust. This is not a solitary journey. Here we have the three figures mark the three stages of life and our ancestral connection. It is a tapestry of family where each the living embodiment of who came before and who will come after. Heal the self to retroactively heal those who came before and those who come after you. Upright, traveling with companions, transforming the present reality, better times lie ahead, deep emotional bounds, trusting instincts and insight to navigate forward even in darkness and confusion. Knowledge that you are never alone, forging a new path, travel and movement. Reversed. Stuck when it is important to move forward, consider your head and heart in equal terms. To write the reversal, ask, how can I move ahead? So this is a very lovely Six of Swords. I like how she involved the heart and the sword that is guiding her. Now, just to compare, let's have a look at the Six of Swords interpretation in this card. This is the image. They're crocodiles. She has a baby in the boat. And there is another figure at the back there. So let's read the interpretation. Six of Swords. Journey. A woman stands in a flat-bottomed boat, using a stick to navigate beneath a bow of Spanish moss. Swords are scattered, and a swaddled baby lies at her feet as curious alligators approach. A young woman reaches towards the boat from the shore. Boat symbolism implies passage and journey, while the rivers and water bodies they traverse reflect the depths of emotional connection and energetic flow. All waters spring from the font of the High Priestess. Alligators reflect power and danger lurking in unconscious depth. The number 6 reflects the heart center, while swords continue to express thoughtful ideas and mindful narratives. Is this a scene of rescue or theft? Is the woman in the boat reclaiming that was what was hers to begin with, or is she stealing another woman's child? Have the figures been manipulated into their actions from immense power we cannot see? It is a moment of transition and a journey that lies ahead. Will you enter the boat or remain upon the shore? So we can see here from the faces of people that one is in distress and another one is just going where she's going. The baby is sleeping peacefully. Meaning, theft, escape, but at what cost? Treason, rescue, better times lie ahead, travel, voyage and passage, a new beginning, emotional waters and the connective depth between people. What are you trying to get away with? It is easy, this is the shadow. It is easy to think we will not be held accountable for our actions, yet what we put into the world always returns to us times 3. The Six of Swords is 2 times 3. So this is a quite different meaning. And you can see how when I say that these cards are sister decks that can give you a good pro-con reading, they focus on a slightly different sides. One is all heart and soul and spirituality, and the other one is, have you looked into the mirror recently? Have you looked into the depths of your soul? Have you seen these lies that you're hiding from yourself? So both decks are quite amazing. I highly recommend both of them. Look at these colors, this autumn vibe of these beautiful oranges and greens and browns. It's so stunning. Eight of Cups. Highly recommend both of these decks. It really feels like you've entered somebody's garden. Very homey, very caring, very loving, very beautifully. The images are very beautiful and they speak to you a lot. So on the first glance it looked like, oh, there are just some bees, but then there is this creepy creature in there who is watching her, and there is one creepy creature in there as well, and the cat is hissing, obviously not at the bees but at the creature. So I find there is so much to look at if you are reading a lot using the images and the signs. What do you call them? Oh my goodness, that's a blank moment. Symbolism in the images, that's what I was going to say. So this is, I love this Seven of Swords. It's soft and we don't know whether she's stealing or whether she's trying to save someone or whether this was taken from her. What exactly is she doing? That gives space to interpret the card as being smart or pragmatic, finding solutions. This is very lush, lovely colors. I really love this deck. Highly recommend both of them, especially if you read for yourself and you struggle sometimes to interpret the cards. You have almost 300 pages book. Each book has spreads and lovely interpretations. You can read through entire text and feel what resonates. Beautiful Eight of Swords. It's really in her mind. Is she asleep or it's something that she's imagining? Look at this gorgeous hermit. And the bears. And she's not just randomly pictured with a bear. She went into the forest, into the environment of the animal. So that shows you have to go inwards to find that inner strength. I really love. And the Fool is beautiful. I mean, there is so much symbolism to look at, and the interpretation that she gives for it in the book is simply magnificent. I'm gonna read it to you so that you understand what I'm talking about. The Fool, beginning. Fresh as sparkling morning dew, once upon a time came you. Never mind, the steps are steep. Trust your fate, take the leap. The witch's journey begins with the arrival of the mysterious stranger. Her name is the Fool. The Fool's appearance marks a fresh start. It is a new chapter in an unfolding story. 0 is her number. The Fool reflects the soul's pure potential. The Fool is beginning and end. She is all infinite possibility. The entire tarot exists inside of her. The Fool is the seed of the tarot deck. The secret of the Fool card is trusting in what unfolds in every moment. Her face tips towards sunlight. She walks without a care in the world through the path leads to a jagged precipice. Her path regenerates as her feet touch the ground. How cool is that? Her path regenerates as her feet touch the ground. Our lives happening and being built stone by stone as we make each step. Sometimes we want to know everything ahead. We want to plan, but actually our lives are being lived and created right in front of us as we walk. Each step is being created for us. There is no fear, anticipation, or danger. Trust in the journey. The fool is not weighed by past incarnations. She carries only what she needs. The garden hoe foreshadows work. The leather sack swinging from the hoe contains past experience. A discarded book marks lessons learned that are left for another traveler to discover. That is so cool. You learn your lessons and then you leave that book because you have learned it from first page to the last one, and she has a new one here, so she no longer needs this one. An alchemist's white rose decorates the cover of the book she holds. The white rose represents the union of opposites giving rise to new evolution. The symbol of elemental air is embroidered upon her chest. Manifestation is seen in her boots and blossoming flowers. A gleeful dog leaps beside her to represent joyful animal communication and companionship. No one walks alone. The fool indicates a fresh new adventure, new beginning, flowering potential, freedom and travel, innocence and optimism, odd and silly behavior, outlander, fresh chapter. Reversed, blindness, ignorance, childish, reckless, indiscreet, irresponsible. To write the reversal, ask, how can I start over? So I really love this fool. So hopefully by now you guys can see why I absolutely wanted to talk about these decks. Now, just a few words. For me, tarot can be as a tool to reflect on the things that we sometimes don't see because everybody has a blind spot. But as well, I got into tarot years ago because I bought my first deck around 10 years ago. I've used it without really knowing what I was doing, and I gave it away. But what made me get into tarot, made me pay attention to it, I had an amazing reading here in Bali. Someone gave me a reading in a coffee shop for $5. And at that time, the reading didn't make any sense. But how shocked and amazed I was when 3 years later, when I was married and I had my child, I started having a lot of issues in my life. My world was collapsing. And suddenly I remembered that reading that woman gave me back then. She was warning me. She was telling, the reading was saying, save money. You're gonna have a child. You're gonna have a husband. Your husband's gonna have this kind of job. And everything she was talking about suddenly came back into my memory. I completely blacked it out. I completely forgot about it because when I got that reading, I was single, I was carefree, I had no children, nor was I planning to have any children, and it didn't make any sense. But she could see, using the cards, all those things that I had to be warned about, and she warned me. She foreseen those events unfolding in my life. And it was quite amazing. I was forever deeply affected by that reading that she gave me. But it took time. It took 3 years for me to realize that what she was saying, in fact, were a bunch of warnings for me that I didn't pay attention to. And if I would have, my life could have been completely different. Now we all walk our own path in life, and I don't regret a thing. But her skills to foresee those events and be able to warn me or other people were amazing. And I was forever shaken up and sort of awakened by that kind of ability to read. And so I'm not there yet, obviously. I don't know if I would be able to. And the thing is that maybe I am there. It's very hard to tell because you read for some people and the feedback sometimes is my feedback to her was, I said, this doesn't make any sense, thank you very much, but none of what you just said made sense. And so it was not a great feedback from me. But years later, when I realized how detailed and exact her reading was, I wanted to contact her and tell her how amazing it was and that I wanted more readings from her. But I found out that she had passed away 3 months after she gave me that reading, and so I could never give her that feedback. So sometimes we read for other people or other people read for us, and at the beginning, or maybe for quite a while, we feel like that reading didn't resonate at all. And then something happens 3, 5, 10 years later, and you have this aha moment and you realize that, wow, that's what it was. So tarot cards are really amazing this way, and we can use them the way we want. This is all up to us, our belief system, and what we want out of readings. For some people it's their religious system, their religious beliefs, but for me, I believe and I know that tarot can really foresee and help glance into the future, because it's really quantum physics. We have multiple pathways that we can take, and every time we make a decision, make a choice, these roads are changing. The future that we are creating is changing. And so sometimes even having a reading, and what we might feel like a negative reading, just by looking at that reading and hearing what the person has to convey to us, the universe has to convey to us through the cards and through that person, can change that very way we're heading to, that might be not the best. So maybe we'll get annoyed that the reading is negative, that the reading is not what we expected, but then we'll come home, we will look at it again, and we will possibly reflect and find something that we can change, something we can pay more attention to. So I believe that certain things can have, we are allowed, we're able to have a glimpse into the future possibilities, one of the many future possibilities that can be changed just because we have seen it. So if it's something that you no longer desire, you have the power to change. And I think tarot is an amazing tool this way. So this went on for much longer than I expected. I highly recommend these 2 decks, guys. I'm not sponsored. You can buy them on Amazon. Enjoy. I believe this will be really helpful tools for readings for yourself, or for your friends or family members, or even for your work. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. This was White Raven. Have a lovely day, and bye.